Students, how are you? So in last class, we were studying about the means of spread. Some microorganisms spread through air, some spread through water, through food, some spread through physical contact, and some are carried by vectors or some animals also. So now they reach our body. And what about the size of our body? Our body is very large when compared to the size of the microorganisms. Microorganisms are very, very small, or they are microscopic. So they reach our large body. Now where do they go? Through which part they will enter into our body? So to which organ or to which part they are going? So now, do all these organisms go to the same tissue or organ, or do they go to different tissues or organs? So we know some of them will enter through our nose. From air, they will enter through our nose. When they enter through our nose, they will reach our lungs. Or some will enter to our mouth through air or food we eat, or through water we drink. They will enter into our mouth. So from mouth, they will go through our alimentary canal, and some from alimentary canal go to our liver. Some will stay in the alimentary canal itself. Some will go to our stomach and cause some diseases. So the diseases that are affected, that is depending on the point of entry of the microorganisms. So if the disease or the selection is connected to their point of entry. So if they enter into our body through the nose, for example, the case of the bacterium that causes tuberculosis. So if the bacteria that causes tuberculosis enter from air through our nose, it will go to our lungs and it will cause the disease tuberculosis. And if some bacteria enter through our mouth, for example, in the case of bacteria that causes typhoid, if it enter through our mouth, it will reach our alimentary canal, stay in the lining of our alimentary canal and causes the disease typhoid. So the diseases that are affected depends on the point of their entry. If they enter through our nose, they may go to lungs and cause disease. If they enter through mouth, they will go to stomach or liver and causes some disease. Or otherwise, the virus that causes jaundice, if it enter through contaminated water, when we drink contaminated water, it will enter into our mouth. From mouth, it will go to our alimentary canal. From alimentary canal, it will enter our liver and causes the disease jaundice. So the disease is depending on the point of their entry. So bacteria that cause disease that enter through our nose will it will cause the disease tuberculosis or TB, and that is bacteria. Microorganism is a bacteria. Point of entry is nose. And disease typhoid is also caused by a bacteria, and the point of entry is mouth. And here it affects which organ? Affects our lungs. This will affect our gut lining. This is staying in the gut lining. And a virus that causes jaundice, that is affecting our liver. Microorganism is disease is what? Disease is jaundice, and it is a virus, and it enters through the contaminated water through our mouth. Okay, so for bacteria disease that or a microorganism that enter through nose affects which part of our body? Lungs. And which is the disease? Tuberculosis. If a bacteria enter through mouth, it affects gut lining or stomach. And example for one disease, that is typhoid. A virus that affects enter into our liver causes which disease? It causes the disease jaundice. Okay, so the disease mainly the disease that are affecting us is based on or is connected to their point of entry. So in all these cases, that is in tuberculosis or jaundice or typhoid, we saw that the part of the body that is affected by the disease is connected with the point of entry. But always it is not the case. For example, the virus that causes AIDS. So which is the virus that causes AIDS? HIV virus. It enters into our body through sexual contact or through blood-to-blood contact or from pregnant mother to her baby or through breastfeeding. But this disease is not affecting the sex organs or any of these parts. It will affect our immunity system and it will spread to lymph nodes all over our body. So, in the case of AIDS, the disease is not related with the point of entry. Or in another disease, malaria. Malaria is caused by Plasmodium vivax. And how that parasite enter into our body? Through mosquito bite. So, when the mosquito bites us, that parasite Plasmodium vivax enters our body. So, it will enter into our bloodstream and it will travel to our liver. And when the parasite matures, they leave the liver and they will infect our red blood cells. Okay. Or the virus that causes Japanese encephalitis or brain fever. Brain fever. So this virus also enter into our body through mosquito bite. But it is not remaining in the bloodstream. It goes to our brain and infect the brain. So in all cases, the disease is not related to the point of entry. Disease of a part which is affected by the disease, that is not connected or related with the point of entry. But in some disease, if it enters through nose, it will affect our lungs. If it enters through mouth, it will affect our stomach. But in always, it is not the case. In AIDS, malaria, brain fever and all, it is not affecting the part through which the parasite or microorganism enters into our body. That microorganisms are affecting some other parts of our body. Okay. So we study that the part that is affected by a disease is mainly depending or it is mainly connected with the point of entry of the microorganisms. And again, what about the signs and symptoms of disease? There will be, if we have some brain disease in brain, we will be having some headache or some other problems. So there will be some signs and symptoms for all the disease. And if we know which part is affected by the microorganisms, we can imagine what will be the signs and symptoms also. For example, if our lungs is affected by a microorganism, what will be the symptoms? There will be some breathing difficulties or breathlessness. Then what? There would be cough and all. Or if our brain is affected, what will be the symptom? Mainly we will be affected by headache. Then there will be vomiting. Fits will be there. Then unconscious also. Okay. So the signs and symptoms. We can imagine what will be the signs and symptoms if we know which part is affected by the microorganisms. So here we saw that the signs and symptoms of a disease will depend on the tissue or the organ which are the target of the microorganisms or the organs which are affected by the microorganisms. But in addition to this tissue specific or organ specific effects, there will be other common effects also. So tissue based on the organ or tissue that is affected, we will show some signs and symptoms. In addition to this tissue specific or organ specific, there will be some common effects also in our body. And the common effects in our body is activated by our immune system. Okay. So our immune system, when some microorganisms enter into our body, we know immune system will fight against the microorganisms and protect our body. So what the immune system is doing? The immune system will recruit some cells to the affected part. Which part is affected? To that part, our immune system will recruit some cells. For what? To kill the disease causing microbes. And this recruitment process is called inflammation. So inflammation. So inflammation means that part, affected part will be reddened, or there will be swelling, there will be pain and all. Okay. So there will be, due to inflammation, there will be some local effects like swelling and pain and all. Along with that, there will be some general effects like fever also. Okay. So what we study? If we are affected by a disease, a particular organ or tissue is affected by the disease, that organ or tissue will show some symptoms. If lungs is affected by a disease, there will be breathing difficulties, there will be cough and all. So it will show some signs and symptoms based on the organ or tissue. And in addition to this tissue or organ specific symptoms, there will be some common effects also. And the common effects are activated by which system in our body? It is activated by our immunity system. What the immunity system do? It will recruit some cells to the affected part to kill that disease causing microorganism. And that recruitment is called inflammation. And as a result of inflammation, there will be some local effects and there will be some general effects. Which are the local effects? Pain and swelling in that area. General effects, we will be affected by fever also. But in the case of AIDS, it is not tissue specific or organ specific. It is affecting our immune system and it damages the functions of the immune system. So we know if any microorganisms enter into your body, usually our immune system will fight against it and kill the microorganisms and protect our body from diseases. So if you have a common cold, within 1 or 2 days, our immune system will overcome the microorganisms and we will be okay. But if a person is suffering from AIDS, the virus is affecting the immunity system. So no immunity in their body. So if a person is suffering from AIDS, if he is affected by a mild common cold, what happens? No immunity system in the body. So the common cold will become serious and later it will become a pneumonia and sometimes the person may die due to that pneumonia also. Or if you have a small stomach ache, within 1 or 2 hours our immunity system will kill the microorganisms and we will be okay. But if a person is suffering from AIDS, what happens? No immunity system. So that stomach disease will increase. It will become a serious diarrhea and all. So if in persons who is suffering from AIDS, usually what happens? They will these small infections may kill the persons who is suffering from AIDS because there is no immunity in their body. So if they are affected by any one microorganisms, that may be the reason for their death also because there is no immunity system in their body. Okay. Then another point is that the severity of the disease depends on the number of microorganisms that enter into our body or that is present in our body. If the number of microorganisms is less, the disease will be a minor disease. But if the number of microorganisms is very large, the disease will become a serious disease. So our immune system is a major factor that determines the number of microbes surviving in the body. If immune system can kill a major amount of microorganisms, then what happens? Only little microorganisms in our body, disease will become a minor disease. but immune system is not able to kill large amount of microorganisms will remain in our body and it will become a serious disease also. Okay, so our immune system is a major factor that determines the number of microbes surviving in our body also. Clear? So today we study that the disease, that part of the body that is affected by a disease is mainly depending on the point of their entry. But in some disease that is not the case. And our immunity system is protecting our body from many of the diseases. Our immunity system will fight against the microorganisms and kill them also. They will recruit some cells to kill the microorganisms, and that recruitment is called inflammation. Clear?